Hey guys, welcome to some sort of behind the scenes video, I guess, on how I made the SI Not Found Overwatch Season 4 comp montage. It's been really fun making this project, actually. It took me around, I want to say a month when I first started it, and I want to show you guys how I did it, sort of, like I said, behind the scenes. So don't worry if you're not like a video editing professional or anything, because I'll make this super simple and easy to understand if you're ever wondering how I made all this stuff. And there's tons of hidden little things in here that you probably didn't even notice at all, but they just add so much more to the video, and that's what I really like about this montage. And just because it's super awesome. Uh, so hang on. So right here, this is the whole timeline in my video editing program right here. To anyone who doesn't do video editing, it looks super scary and super complicated, but that's okay. We're going to go through it and sort of, I'll talk about any design choices I made throughout the video. Okay, so this is what I have here in the beginning. So when I first started off doing this, I took all the big clips, like the quintuple kills, the big 5-man reses, and all that good stuff, and I put them at the bass drop. So see, here's one of my 5-man reses here, and if you look at the music here, this is when the bass drops, right at this marker, and I can use a marker in the timeline. So like, this is right, bam, right there. That's when the bass drops, and so I can, I'll have another marker here, and I can sync it up to bam. So just when it cuts, the bass will drop. So I build around the bass drops. That's one bass drop, and then there's another over here, right? So I have the, and right when it hits, I have the bass drop. And then I just sort of fill the clips area, just sort of fill the area in between. So that's just sort of how I did it structure-wise. So one thing I started using for the first time while doing this project was something called Twixtor, which is a fantastic add-in for Adobe After Effects. It's used for slowing down footage, and it does it really, really well. And if you don't know stuff about video and slow motion and frame rates, I'm not going to go into that. But generally, when I record at 60 frames per second, which is standard for YouTube gaming and stuff, for gaming videos and stuff like that. However, some of my friends, they don't have the luxury of doing that, so they record at 30 frames per second. And so that makes it hard to slow down, but the slow-mo in the video is really awesome because this program allows me to slow it down really, really, really slowly and without too much compromise. Although sometimes, right, you see this sort of this weird funky effect, which is not pleasant viewing. Look at that. But sometimes you get nice spots like this. This is a nice time right here. Slowly. I know the quality is really bad because it takes a lot of processing power to render the stuff out, but it slowly comes out. And look at that. Like, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Although sometimes, yeah, you get that weird doubling up or warpy feel. But yeah, no, I did this for tons of, not tons of, but a lot of this, in fact, all of the slow-mo in this video, like 99% of it, it's only one time where this slow-mo is not using Twixtor, but it's such a fantastic piece of software that, I can't help but thank the software for for existing, so I can use it in the video. Okay, so here, of course, I have just this. I have this clip right here, just the music starting in. But then down here, I have, if I can isolate it, I have a slow-mo effect. So it's just like, right, it just adds a little bit more instead of just having, right, just gives it a bit more sense of the fact that you're slowing down. And then one thing that I don't know if you guys noticed is that because when I'm using Twixtor, right, sometimes some things get a little curvy and some things get a little like warpy and whatnot. So I zoom in, look at the top. I redid some of the text up top. See how it I had to re-edit some of that, so it just looks a bit better. And same thing here. If you look right here at the text, see, I sort of replace that over, and then here, right, so how I did that was I took if I go over here, so I have all my clips layered on top of each other, but they're all synced up. So if I delete this, see, they're all in the same exact spot, so then I can just cut between them and it's gonna look really nice. So it's like right, and then this sound effect right here is actually it's just the sound of the wings, her wings extending in the play of the game, and it just adds a bit more, I guess. Right? And then here, so if you're wondering how I did it, like, so it's like normal speed, and then just slows down. Like, hang on, I can mute this. Sorry, I can just go, and then it just slows down, and then it picks back up, and it slows down. Right? How I did that was, so is this the spot? I'm sorry. So I have, just ignore the top layer for now. So how I did this was I had 2 tracks going, and so this is an example of this. Is sort of a visual representation of the speed. So it's going to slow down when it hits here. It's just going to go down a bit. It's going to pick back up and slow down and pick back up, right? And then there's going to be my swish transition, my pan, which I'll talk about that later. But then here is, you see, just like a humps, because when it goes it goes whoosh, 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 and it goes like, it ramps really quickly. But whenever it's in normal speed, I took the raw footage and put it on top, because how I did this, I did the same thing with the Diva ult. How I over here, how I ramped it up. Remember, it was slow, and it speeds up again. Is I just took so basically I rendered out an entire like clip in Twixtor using the super slow motion. Of course, sometimes it looks super glitchy. Yeah, let me expand this. So sometimes you look at that, it looks really bad sometimes, but I have this part, so it's super slow mode, but then I'll take this clip and speed it up back to normal speed. So I think it's around 999. So then look, if I speed it really far up, it looks normal, right? So then I can slow it down, but when I speed it up sometimes you get really big glitchy, since if you remember back in slow-mo, sometimes you get this really wavy effect. So to get sort of counter that, I put the raw normal clip, non-slow mode, on top of that when it's not slow mode, if that makes sense. Okay, so the swish transition, it actually, so how it came to be was, it was actually here, right here, where I wanted to sync up the boops with the beats, and there wasn't enough time in the video that would catch up, so I had to cut a bit, and I was like, oh, I need a good transition, so I just had a blur pan, just like that, and essentially just a pan transition combined with a bit of blur with this adjustment layer here, and just blur it and like that. And I don't use this transition on every clip. I just use it on some rare occasions, and sometimes I don't have a rule for when I like to have it, but I just feel like sometimes it'd be nice. It just sort of makes sense. Right, and then here as well, like, it's a really nice transition because it's here and then it's going back, and then it cuts back, and it swishes immediately into the boop, right? And even this boop is really awesome because what I have here is, I'll take a look. So this boop has 3 different layers. I'm gonna take them all out. So this is just the normal boop right here, right? But if you looking, I zoomed in a bit. If you want to. Bam, just see how it comes in and out, and that just sort of gave it a little shock effect, I guess. And then what I did was I took 2 copies of the same video and I offset them by 1 frame, and I reduced the opacity. So now you get this, like this really, like this like shaky, distorted effect. Like you can get this, and then on top of that I added a bit of blur, like, so now like it's really adds a lot to the boop. Like, look at that. Like, of course, when you look back in fast motion, look at it. You can barely see any of it. Did you catch it? Look at that, so fast. But those tiny details, I think that's what they add a lot to the video. And then here it is again, just super slowed down with the blur and the 2 extra layers adding. And there you go. And of course, this is Charles. If you don't know him, he's Justin's little brother. And so he's actually not in a lot of videos, but that's okay. He's a big member of our clan. But this was the game he got the Floor is Lava achievement. And if you don't play Overwatch, it's a really big achievement. It's pretty hard to get. And then the Overwatch notification, the achievement notification, is just like this at the bottom, right? But this is play of the game, it doesn't show up, so I had to edit it in myself. So what I did was I took this from a separate video where someone else got the achievement, and I cropped it out. So I cut out just that part, and I just faded it in like that, right? And even this shows my attention to detail. I have two ultra keys, basically green screens, that when it fades in, if I remove these two, look at that. See, you get a bit of blocky artifact. Like, see this purple stuff behind? It's supposed to be completely transparent, so I had to remove those like that. And it's so tiny. Like, hang on, let me zoom in with it. 'Cause it's so tiny. Ready? This is off, on, and it's such a tiny thing, but right, I'm gonna keep saying it. The tiny details make everything better. And then this is sort of just cutting to the timing of the I need ya, I need ya, I need ya right now, right? And then don't let me down, right? And then here's one of Justin's highlights right here, and then here. So again, this is an example of what I did to sync up the whatever I want with like an epic moment in the game. So so I look closely at the audio right here. So I want it to be "Watch you be here," and right when it hits the here, it, God damn it, Ian. Okay, he just wanted me to unmute him from the call. But anyway, so when the thing explodes, I want to cut with "Want you be here," like here. So when it gets to, I put a timeline marker, and then I also have a marker right here in the video when I want it to explode, and I just sync those two up, and bam, you get the. And then this part, these were two boops, and I just sort of put them together. I just sort of cropped out half of the video and put them next to each other. Simple as that. And also sync them up again with the same marker. Here we go. I marked this part in the video where the boop is the biggest and the boop is the biggest here. Marked it, and I just synced it back up. Now it's not perfect here, but in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter. So this is one of my favorite shots of the video, just because the slow-mo works so well here. And then here, look, I do this with the slow-mo in the beginning. I didn't with the text on top of the kill feed. That was a really bad example. But here, if I remove this, look at the Discord orb. If I zoom in, see, it's how it kind of, look at that. It sort of glitches out, like right there, especially. So I cropped that part out and put it on top, and I know it's not perfect because I tried to remove some of the background, but look at that. It just makes it a bit more prominent, I guess. And then I had to repair some of those things with the slow-mo. But look at that. It's such a tiny detail. Like, this is with it off and on. Like, it's so tiny, but, you know, then again, it's those differences. And the same thing here. Just ramps up the speed. Same thing, right? Timeline marker, again, the use of that is really awesome in Premiere. How you can sync that stuff up. And that transition is just awesome, isn't it? So I have nested sequence inside nested sequence inside nested sequence for this. If you don't know what they are, it just basically allows you to have multiple edits onto one video, I guess, in a way. Just really quick explanation. But what I did was, if you look here, I masked out the video. So I drew a mask around the black part, and which frame by frame I increased it, so when she gets into the mech, it gets larger and larger and larger. And of course, I can only draw one mask around here, so I do this side and this side, and that's what this one's for. Oops. No, apparently not. Oh, right here, right. But here, so look at this part, and look at that. Here's the mask on that side, right? There we go. And then, of course, I have to re-nest the sequence, go back out again, do the other side, and re-nest it again, and do all the tiny areas in the middle. But that's essentially how I did it, and it looks cool, doesn't it? There's the swish again, you know, just like that's a nice transition, I guess. So I originally had planned to have audio in the video, right? Like just maybe a few alt lines, or like, well, heroes never die, when he goes, Yuji no Kyo Kre, with Genji's ult line. But in the end, I made the executive decision to not, just because I feel like it might have taken you out of the video, and also like it was a lot of work to have, because I was planning to completely reconstruct the sound in the game, like down to the graviton surge and the defense matrix and that stuff, and the triple kill, quadruple kill, like the announcer stuff, and that was just too much work for me. So I just decided to drop that part out of the project. Did you catch that? When I pinned the Zarya right here. I'm sorry about the bad audio. This is what happens when you pan through, like this sound. I'll get rid of it though. Okay. So when I pinned her, right, without the motion, let's get this, just bam, right? However, I want you to really get a visual representation of the jolt when you get pinned. So this one I add. Right, look at that. Just a few keyframes up here, and I can really shake the camera. Right? That's kind of cool. And it happens quickly, right? If you look at it again. But it just adds a little, you know, just a little touch. Sorry for my speaking. There we go, right? And then again, if I can turn up the audio again. Again, I synced it up, there we go, with the Sombra EMP. So I don't know if you caught that in the video, or in the audio specifically, but if you know the remix of this song, it's longer than usual. There are two spots where I trimmed it out. This part and this part. Here, there's like a whole other verse in between, but I cut it out and I added a bit of crossfade, so there's a nice, so it sounds like it's actual part of the song. And of course the switch, right? Here, I'll get to that back to later, where I transitioned it again. But this is also a nice part of the video where it goes through each of the play the matches, sorry, since this is competitive. So, just like last time, right here, I took all the play the games and I synced them up using a marker, and they're all on one line, right? So then when I cut between them, they're all in sync. Like here, there we go. Here's another one. And with here, sorry about that, the glitch, right? How because normally with the Sombra play of the game, if you know it, it looks like it's someone else's play of the game, and then glitches in it and comes out as her, right? So, and this is Owen, by the way. He's not in many of our videos, but he's a good person. He's awesome. I wanted to get the glitch transition. I did that manually so I used a vaporwave effect, and but this is what it is right here. And so here's again, but then, and this is the default Sombra if I want to bring this up. But this is the default Sombra transition, right? I tried to replicate it. I couldn't really get anything like this in Premiere, but that's what I sort of had to deal with. But what I did was I even applied the transition here, and it flickers back and forth. So the purple one has the effect, and the white one doesn't. And the purple does, and the white doesn't. So it like really flickers back and forth, like. Look at that, right? It's a great transition. Like a hack, like it flickers back and forth. And when you play it fast at normal speed, look at that. You barely notice it, but maybe you subconsciously get it. And then here's Genji one. I tried to cut it so with the don't let me, with each beat he takes a swing at his sword. Right, and so it works out. Okay, so I don't know if your headphones are good enough, because you might need some good headphones to listen to this, to hear this. But I added the same back at the very beginning here, with that bass effect when Charles does a boop. I add the same thing here, except with a fade to it. So if you listen to it, maybe you can catch it. Right, so I added that, and same thing here, same thing as the last time with the boot, the two layers, so it adds a bit of blur to it, and the adjustment layer that adds even more blur to it, and it's so fast, but it does its job. And the audio transition where I cut out like another whole verse here. here at this, right, this is a big bass drop here. If you look at it again, such a tiny little detail. But I did it again with the hammer down. So when he goes in, look at that. Like it zooms in, it shakes, and there's a blur to it, like that. And it's a shame that it's so quick, because I feel like no one would see it if you want to look at it again. Right? Like that's. Let me go back. Oh no. Let me go back to it again. Oh my. Let's go back. Right? Like that's so fast. But then again, you know, it's the tiny things. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. Here's another swipe transition. And I use the speed ramping technique, right, where I speed up and it reses, and again use the timeline marker right here, again to sync that up. With this hammer down, I didn't use the keyframes, just because I felt like I wanted to save those big moments for the effects with the keyframes. When I mean that, I mean like the shaking of the screen and all that stuff. I want to save that stuff, which is why, because I have tons of other 5-man reses. Like I think there's only one in the beginning. There's one here. I think I only show 4 in total, but I have like 10 saved, but I don't use them because I want to save the 5-man reses for like the bass drops, like the big plays, you know. So I use that stuff. And then here's just another play. And again, here's probably the best example I have of this though. I want to sync it up so when there's a percussion hit, I kill her with a melee hit. If you want to listen, right, with the tch, and look, I synced it up. Here's the spot in the music where the percussion beat hits, and here's the spot where I kill her with the thing, and I sync them up together, so you get this, right? That's nice. And then the final one, so the 5-man res. And those are the only 2 times in the video where there's actual audio from the game. This part right here, and it's very soft, and I add some fades so it transitions into the rest of the sound mix nicely. If you want to listen to it just separately, right here. So this is that, and then there's also the beginning right here. Right, and it just sort of fades out quickly to allow for the song and the slow-mo effect to just sort of pop into the video. Alright, so that was basically it. I hope you enjoyed watching me sort of go through my editing process and see how I made this video. It was super fun to make, even if it doesn't get a lot of views. I mean, okay, so I started this channel last year in June. And I think it was July actually, and it was just a thing for our friends to look at, since I'm the one who edits the videos, and just sort of record our gameplay, edit it, and upload to YouTube just so everyone could see it really easily. Because before I would share it to Google Drive, and that was just a really inefficient, silly way to do it. But it was just for us, and then I uploaded the the Overwatch Lucio oh yeah video, and that really got tons of views so quickly. Then a ton of people saw my channel. They said they loved the video. They said we were a really funny group together, and that was great. But I'm really not gonna monetize these videos ever, because even though it's nice to have this very small group of people who enjoy these videos, I'm never doing this for money. It's so silly to have this sort of thing, and this is still just for us. I mean, I like it that you guys are enjoying this stuff, but it's just for our friends to like it. And these videos do take a very long time to edit, because I have to I have to animate all the text and everything. So these videos are gonna be very few and far in between, right? You already know that. I upload like twice per like month, and it's gonna go down even because, you know, I have finals, I have tests. It's coming June, right? But during the summer, you should expect more videos. But right now, it's just there's a lot going on. But for now, I want to say thanks for watching. God, that's the first time I've ever said that. But yeah, I'll see you next time, guys.